Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Atlanta for the 7th and deciding game of the National League Championship Series between the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Atlanta Braves. Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Sean McDonough along with Tim McCarver, and it's great to have you with us as the Pittsburgh Pirates try to become just the 8th team in Major League history to come from 3 games to 1 down and win a postseason series. And by forcing a Game 7, they have another chance for Doug Drabek as he goes head-to-head with John Smoltz for the 3rd time in this series.
John Smoltz has already beaten Drabek twice in this series, and if he wins again tonight versus Drabek, it will be the first time in postseason history that one pitcher will have beaten the same mound opponent in the same series 3 times. But if he does, it will be bucking a trend for Atlanta pitchers, the starting pitchers. Steve Avery went only a 1/3 of an inning on Sunday night, and Tommy Glavine only won last night. I think this is going to be a well-pitched ball game.
The Toronto Blue Jays will fly south for the start of the World Series. Will it be to Pittsburgh or Atlanta? We'll find out after this. Welcome back to sold-out Atlanta Fulton County Stadium for Game 7 of the National League Championship Series. The lineup for the Pittsburgh Pirates and Jim Leyland tonight. Alex Cole leads off in right field. Jay Bell to shortstop. Andy Van Slyke in center field. The cleanup hitter, left fielder Barry Bonds. Orlando Merced at first base. Jeff King batting 6th at third base. Mike LaValliere the catcher. Jose Lean the second baseman. And the pitcher, Doug Drabek, bats 9th. Those are the batting averages for the Pirates in this league championship series.
Defense for the Braves. Gant in left, Otis Nixon in center, and David Justice in right. Pendleton, Blauser, Lemke, Bream on the infield, and Berryhill behind the plate.
First pitch of Game 7, a fastball inside from John Smoltz to Alex Cole. And another fastball, this one high. 2-0 on Cole, who has appeared in 2 games in this series. The 2 games started by John Smoltz, 1 and 4. He's 2 for 8. Borderline strike. Another fastball. Nothing but heat to this point from Smoltz to Cole.
The one thing that Bobby Cox, the manager of the Braves, said about John Smoltz was that he had to throw strikes early in the count. To Alex Cole, he hasn't done that. He walked 80 this year in 246 innings.
And he walks Cole to start the ball game. Alex did not swing at a pitch, and he walked on 5 pitches.
Good news and bad news so far for Smoltz. He's throwing hard, but he's been wild.
The lead man on for the Pirates in the first. The batter is Jay Bell. Look for a bunt in this situation with Bell. Jim Leyland has employed the bunt frequently throughout the years with Jay Bell, even in the first inning.
He had 9 this year in the first inning.
He pops that one up. Berryhill makes the running catch.
The barrel of the bat is below the ball, and that's why he popped it up. Berryhill makes a nice play. A catcher's first responsibility, fair territory. That's why he went out and then back to make a nice play.
1 out. We're in the top of the first. Andy Van Slyke digs in. Andy is 6 for 25. He's had at least 1 hit in every game in this series except Game 2, the 13-5 Atlanta victory. Breaking ball for a strike. Bobby Cox. He was the manager of the Toronto Blue Jays in 1985 when they squandered a 3-games-to-1 lead in the LCS against the Kansas City Royals. Only 2 teams in League Championship Series play have ever blown a 3-games-to-1 lead. That's a fair ball. Past the dive of Sid Bream and down into the corner. Fielded by Justice. Cole will be held at third. Van Slyke in a second with a double.
Andy Van Slyke is the best low ball hitter on the Pirate team. And watch where the fastball from Smoltz is. Right down in his wheelhouse. Just inside the bag. A diving Bream can't get to it. That ball hopping over his glove. And the Pirates are threatening early.
With second and third and one out for Barry Bonds, who hit his first ever postseason home run last night, leading off the second inning to ignite the rally of 8 runs against Tom Glavine. They won't take a chance with Bonds here with first base open. They'll walk him and work to Orlando Merced.
I'm sure Jim Leyland is probably thinking the only lineup change that either team has made this year, all of the lineups have been, or during this year's championship series, all of the lineups have been the same. The right-handed hitters facing the left-handed pitching, and a predictable left-handed batting order facing right-handers. But last night he was thinking about it, and he said, I think I'll move Merced to the 5th hole, and it could pay early dividends here in the first inning. Jeff King batting 6th this evening.
Leyland wanted another left-handed bat in the lineup right behind Bonds, and that's what he has with Merced. 1 for 7 in the series is Merced. He's 1 for 5 in the 2 games in the series against Smoltz. The infield back at double play depth. The bases loaded with 1 out in the top of the first in Game 7 of the National League Championship Series. Breaking ball inside corner, strike 1. Merced badly fooled by that breaking ball, and it's 0-2. Breaking ball in the dirt. Good block by Berryhill as he shifted to his right. 1-2 on Merced with Alex Cole at third base.
That was a terrific play by Damon Berryhill. Not only does he block it, but he gives John Smoltz confidence when and if he throws another breaking ball. The effective breaking ball is down, and you have to have a catcher who can block the ball to have confidence to throw it with a man on third.
Well hit. Right field. Deep enough to get the run in as Justice makes the catch in front of the track. Hole across with the first run of the ball game, and the Pirates lead 1-0 in the first inning. It's the second RBI in this series for Orlando Merced. And you're looking live at Clark's Bar in Pittsburgh, where Pirate fans are watching tonight.
It's right near the stadium, isn't it? Right down the street from Three Rivers Stadium. The Pirates strike first, a hanging breaking ball to Merced. Second base open. I wouldn't be surprised to see Bonds run early in the count.
And Slyke took third on the fly ball to right. Jeff King with a very high fly ball near the bullpen. Gant over and couldn't get it. He overran the ball.
I think he had to negotiate that pitcher's mound. That is the bullpen mound right there. So he went up and down, and by the time he got his equilibrium back, he had overrun the ball, and Ron Gant appeared to hurt his left foot or ankle, but he's okay, limping back to his position.
He went up and down, then almost over and out as he hit the railing by the bullpen. The 1-strike pitch to King. Check swing at a breaking ball. King, the 6th batter of the first inning, batting with first and third and 2 outs and 1 run in. Jeff's picked it up over the last 2 games. He's 4 for 9 in games 5 and 6 combined. Bond stole 39 bases during the regular season. He is the only Pirates stolen base in this series. And he's running, and King pops it up. Berryhill and Pendleton. It's Berryhill to end the inning. The Pirates are on the board with 1 run in the top of the first after half an inning. Pittsburgh 1 and Atlanta coming up.
Another beautiful night in Atlanta. The temperature at game time near 70 degrees. Ideal conditions for the sellout crowd to watch Game 7 of the National League Championship Series. The starting lineup for Atlanta tonight: Otis Nixon in center field, Jeff Blauser the shortstop, Terry Pendleton at third, David Justice in right, Sid Bream at first, Ron Gant in left, Damon Berryhill the catcher, Mark Lemke the second baseman, and the pitcher John Smoltz bats ninth against Doug Drabek, who's 0-2 in this series.
The defense for the Pittsburgh Pirates: Barry Bonds in left field, Andy Van Slyke in center, Alex Cole in right, King at third, Bell at short, Leaned at second, and Merced at first, and Mike LaValliere behind the plate.
Drabek's first pitch of the night, a strike to Otis Nixon.
And if you're keeping score at home, write quickly. Shorthand.
Slapped out of play. Drabek quickly ahead. No balls and 2 strikes. The umpires: John McSherry behind the plate, Randy Marsh at first, Steve Ripley at second, Gary Darling at third, Jerry Davis is along the left field line, and Ed Montague calls the plays in right. The 0-2 pitch. Nixon 0 for his last 8 after his record-setting 5 straight hits earlier in the series. Still 1-2. Jeff Blauser waits on deck.
Nixon had 3 straight hits against Doug Drabek in that game 4. Drabek going with a lot of breaking balls, fastballs tonight.
Looked like Doug lost his balance a bit as he delivered that fastball. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Nixon had been 2 for 24 lifetime against Drabek prior to this series, but Otis has gone 3 for 6 against Drabek in the NLCS. But a lot of talk about the lack of intensity in the stands here at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium in this series as compared to the postseason last year. But tonight, you sense the electricity is back. Now the 2-2. Chico Lean throws him out. 1 out. We're in the bottom of the first. The Pirates lead 1-0 on a sacrifice fly by Orlando Merced in the top of the first. Like Otis Nixon, Jeff Blauser is slumping. He's 2 for his last 15.
Breaking ball missed inside. Drabek has failed to survive the 5th inning in either of his first 2 starts in this series. 1 ball and 1 strike on the Atlanta shortstop. Included in those career numbers for Blauser against Drabek, a home run in Game 1 of this year's LCS. King, the diving stop, to his feet to throw him out.
Fine play by Jeff King. Had that ball gotten Vine, it is doubtful that Bell would have thrown out Jeff Blauser. Gets to his feet and guns him out. Nice play by King.
Well, with all the attention early in this series and the lack of production from the heart of the Pittsburgh order, very little attention has been paid to the difficulties of Terry Pendleton at the plate. He's hitting just .231. 6 for 26. And then he looked at a breaking ball in the dirt.
Pittsburgh Pirates got him out last year, too. For the 14 games that these two teams have played in postseason the last 2 years, Terry batting only .196.
One ball and one strike on Pendleton. Of course, Terry picked it up in the World Series last year. He had .360 against the Minnesota Twins. He's been bothered by a sore groin, but Bobby Cox says he's been running as well as at any time this season. In the air in right field, not deep. Cole the catch. The Braves go in order in the first after one in Game 7. 1-0 Pittsburgh. The only run in this game came in the top of the first. Alex Cole started the inning with a walk. He advanced to third and scored on a sacrifice fly by Orlando Merced. Doug Drabek has faced 6 batters and retired them all. And home plate umpire John McSherry left after an inning and a half due to illness, replaced by Randy Marsh, who started the ball game at first base. Our blimp tonight is Goodyear's Stars and Stripes from Pompano Beach, Florida. At the controls once again is Captain Jim Maloney from Vienna, Virginia. And in our continuing desire to be straight down the middle, we even get a blimp captain from between Atlanta and Pittsburgh. Damon Berryhill leads off, and Drabek starts him with a breaking ball that missed. Damon 0 for his last 8, 1 for his last 15 to drop his series average to 143. Mark Lemke to follow, and then John Smoltz. That breaking ball stayed high, and it's 2-0.
Don't look at the camera. Watch the game.
Teaching your son not to be a ham early in life. 2-1 on Berryhill. During the game last night, we stated that Jim Leyland might be considering taking the knuckleballer Tim Wakefield out with his team ahead 8-0 after 2 innings, or at some point thereafter, to have him ready for the possibility of appearing in this Game 7. But Jim Leyland told us that never crossed his mind. Berryhill drives one to deep center field. Van Slyke on the run to the wall. It's off the wall. He has a long way to go to track it down, but Berryhill is slow and he stops at second. The Braves have their first base runner of the night.
There have been 13 players that have appeared in every game for both sides. Before that swing of the bat, Damon Berryhill was the only player without an extra base hit in this league championship series. But he has one now to lead off the third.
The tying run is in scoring position, with nobody out in the third inning. And the batter is Mark Lemke, trying to end an 0 for 10 slump. And the tomahawk chop has returned with feeling to Fulton County Stadium. Lemke at the plate, the pitcher John Smoltz on deck. Foul ball.
That is a very interesting play with the pitcher up next. You may remember in Game 4, John Smoltz with 2 hits, an RBI, a stolen base. That was in Game 4 at Pittsburgh, a game won by Atlanta and Smoltz. That was a 2-out single to center to plate the RBI. Here Bobby Cox has Mark Lemke bunting Berryhill over to third base, or an attempt to do that with Smoltz on deck.
But those hits for Smoltz in Game 4 were an aberration. He hit only 160 during the regular season. Again, Lemke turned to bunt and took a ball outside.
Now Lemke, if he does bunt, he will count no balls and 2 strikes. That is a very, very strange play, even though Lemke is 0 for 10. He'll try to get the third baseman to field the ball, but the count's a ball and 2 strikes.
It would take a well-placed hit to get Berryhill in. He does not run well. That's down to third. Berryhill cannot advance as King throws Lemke out.
One thing about a play like that, when the third baseman is that far off the line, you have everybody racing for the bag. He looked the runner back. You see Drabek cutting in front of King, Bell behind King, racing to third to hold Berryhill at second.
Lemke now 0 for his last 11, and he failed to advance the runner. Apparently the organist is playing the chant in the right key tonight. Carolyn King, the organist, who had been the object of some criticism from the fans, saying she had changed the key for the chant from a year ago, but she maintains that that's nonsense. It's the same key which she has always played the Tomahawk chant. Smoltz 2 for 6 at the plate in this series. As Tim mentioned, he had 2 hits and 3 times up in Game 4. Chopped foul. 1 strike on Smoltz. He will be followed by Otis Nixon. We're in the third, and the Pirates lead 1-0. Smoltz at the plate with Damon Berryhill at second base, and 1 out. The 0-1 pitch. Fastball in for strike 2.
Drabek worked 4 2/3 innings in Game 1, 4 1/3 innings in Game 4. So less than 5 innings, though he should be fairly strong tonight, and he's throwing like it.
Little looper leaned with the leaping grab in shallow right center. Smoltz got just a bit more of that. It would have found its way into right center field. But Lean covers as much ground as any second baseman in the game, and it turned out to be a relatively easy play for him.
That spinning slider away off the end of the bat, and Jose Lean makes a relatively easy play out of that. But you're right, had he hit it a little more toward the sweet part, it's a dunker.
Otis Nixon bounced out to the second baseman, leaned his first time up. Berryhill at second. Now with 2 outs. He started this inning with a double. We have a report that umpire John McSherry was experiencing dizziness, and that's why he left the game. He has been taken to a local hospital as a precautionary measure. Sharply hit, but Merced has it. And the Braves cannot capitalize on the leadoff double by Berryhill. 3 innings in the books in Atlanta. 1-0 Pirates. It's 1-0 Pittsburgh after 3. The winner of this one goes to the World Series to meet the Toronto Blue Jays. Let's check in with Jim Gray.
Okay, Sean, John McSherry just left Fulton County Stadium. He was taken to Piedmont Hospitals. There were several doctors who went into the Braves clubhouse to try and evaluate just exactly what was wrong with him. He was suffering from some dizzy spells. An ambulance came. He left on a stretcher. They're going to take him to the hospital for further evaluation. When he left, he was conscious and alert. We'll keep you posted. Sean?
This series is the highest scoring NLCS ever. These two teams have combined to score 65 runs through the first 6 games plus this one. The Game 7 has settled into a pitcher's duel. John Smoltz battling Doug Drabek, and Smoltz on the short end of a 1-0 score as we go to the 6th inning. And the pitch count particularly a factor for Smoltz because of the length of his outings in games 1 and 4. He's thrown a lot more pitches than Doug Drabek in this series. Jay Bell foul tipped one in the mitt of Damon Berryhill for strike 1. Jay's 0 for 2 tonight.
Smoltz has just been terrific in the 7th game alone. Last year shutting out Pittsburgh 4-0 in Game 7. He worked Game 7 of the World Series working shutout baseball over 7 1/3. And now only 1 run through the first 5. So in his last 21 1/3 innings, for just Game 7 alone, he's given up 1 run.
He's retired 14 of the last 15 Pirates. Still 0-2 on Bell. Van Slyke and Bonds to follow. We mentioned at the outset, only 7 teams in Major League Baseball history have come back from 3 games to 1 down to win a postseason series. And the Pittsburgh Pirates have done it twice in their history. Bell rips one into the left field corner. Gant will play it off the wall as Jay Bell pulls in a second with a double. So these two teams have combined for 4 hits in the game, and all 4 of them are doubles.
A lot of times you may hear that if a guy hits a pitch, it was a mistake. Well, guys hit good pitches too, but that was a mistake. A high breaking ball, and in my opinion, that was the first mistake thrown by either pitcher tonight. Right there, right in the sweet part, you can see Smoltz turning to the left. And the bad thing about that hit, it not only leads off the inning, but Van Slyke, Bonds, Merced, 3 left-handers coming up.
The lead man at second in the 6th inning. The Pirates trying to add to a 1-0 lead. Andy Van Slyke swung at a ball in the dirt. Bell thought about third, but thought better of it. Steve Avery, who was the starter in Game 5, warming up in the bullpen. He is the left-hander, and Pete Smith the right-hander. Bobby Cox told us before the ball game that he would not hesitate to use Steve Avery. This is a game, obviously, that his team has to win. He'll do whatever it takes. Van Slyke is doubled and flied to right. Breaking ball missed low. 1 ball and 1 strike. The double by Jay Bell, the 28th double in this series that ties a league championship series record for the 2 teams combined. Toronto and Kansas City had 28 doubles collectively in 1985.
Tommy Glavine, the only Braves pitcher unavailable. Tim Wakefield, the only Pittsburgh pitcher unavailable.
Up the middle, Lemke can't get it. Bell being waved around, and he will score, and the Pirates lead 2-0. Andy Van Slyke drives in his 4th run of the series, and they erupt at the Clark Bar and Grill adjacent to Three River Stadium.
They're up because the Pirates are up. Andy, 324 batter during the year, second to Gary Sheffield of the San Diego Padres. And the Pirates with a chance here, bunching. A double by Bell, and now a single by Van Slyke. Looked like a splitter that stayed up in the strike zone.
And it's taken 6 innings, but we have our first single of Game 7. Barry Bonds takes a fastball on the inside corner of the knees. Didn't think so, and turned to express that opinion to home plate umpire Randy Marsh. Bonds was intentionally walked in the first inning to load the bases. They pitched to Merced, who delivered a sacrifice fly that drove in the first run of the game. The second run of the game is scored here in the sixth. The double by Bell, a single by Van Slyke. They don't generally like to run Andy Van Slyke because that can frequently take the bat out of the hands of Barry Bonds.
Andy, with 12 stolen bases on the year, the Pirates as a team with only 1 stolen base in this series. As much as that, I think Barry Bonds is the one guy that you keep things quiet. You don't send the runners. You let him hit.
1 ball and 2 strikes. The 2 faces of Barry Bonds in this series. Games 1 through 4, he was 1 for 11 without an RBI. Over the last 3 ball games, he's 4 for 10 and has knocked in 2. He hit the home run last night, starting the second inning on Tom Glavine. They've got the Bucs off and running to their 8-run second inning. The pop-up. Pendleton takes command. 1 out. Really, that was an appropriate label for the graphic of Barry Bonds that you saw, because he admits that he is a very moody person. One day very happy, the next day a little bit on the surly side. Certainly members of the media can vouch for that, but he had his coming out party in Game 5, and it's not coincidental that that's when the series started to turn around for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Orlando Merced took a fastball for ball 1. He drove in the first run in the first inning with a sacrifice fly. He bounced out to the second baseman in the 4th. Van Slyke at first with 1 out. We're in the 6th. Pittsburgh 2, Atlanta nothing. Rich Donnelly is the Pittsburgh third base coach.
Jim Leyland wants to play aggressive baseball. I wouldn't be a bit surprised to see Van Slyke running here, hit and run.
In the air, in shallow right center, Justice the catch.
That was Jim Leyland's plans, to be aggressive on the bases before this season before this series started. But Atlanta winning the first 3 out of 4 games, and Atlanta has not been ahead over the last 3 games. Not only have they lost 2 in a row, they haven't even been ahead. So there have been opportunities for Leyland to send the runner the last 3 ball games.
Jeff King waits as Smoltz throws to first. A ball high. 1-0 on King, who is 0 for 2 tonight. Van Slyke, the runner at first, with 2 outs. 6th inning, 2-0 Pittsburgh. Pulled foul. King had a lot of room to shoot for down that line, as Pendleton is playing him way off the line.
Very few hitters. There are very few hitters who don't use the fat part of the field which to hit. Usually if the balls are hit down the line, it's the pitcher and catcher's fault. Pitcher hangs a pitch.
The 1-1 breaking ball, low and away, 2 balls and 1 strike.
There are certainly times in the late innings when you want to protect against a double, but this isn't one of them, and that's why Terry Pendleton is playing way off the line. Especially the way Smoltz is throwing. The chances of King getting around and hammering a ball down there remote.
Looks like John Smoltz trying to muscle that one up to the plate and missed, and now it's 3-1.
Slyke on the run. King lifts it. And in left center, Gant has room. The Pirates score again with 1 run in the 6th. The Braves come up in the bottom of the 6th, trailing 2-0. Game 7 of the National League Championship Series heads to the bottom of the 6th inning at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. The Braves with 4 more times at bat to try to get on the board against Doug Drabek.
What's that line of a few years back? 1 is the loneliest number that you'll ever know. Each team looking for 1 more.
Bottom part of the order coming up for the Braves here in the bottom of the 6th. Mark Lemke 0 for 1 tonight. Now 0 for his last 11. Jeff Treadway has moved into the on-deck circle to bat for the pitcher Smoltz. Drabek starts Lemke with a breaking ball for strike 1. Doug Drabek has retired 9 in a row. Atlanta has had only 1 base runner through the first 5 innings. That was Damon Berryhill, who doubled in the 3rd. Jim Leyland said, "I cannot believe that Doug Drabek would throw 3 straight starts that were not of his standard." And Jim Leyland was right. 2 poor starts and a brilliant effort tonight when the Pirates needed it most. Here's Jeff Treadway getting ready to bat for Smoltz. Mike Stanton is the lone pitcher warming up in the Atlanta bullpen. And the reality of the 2-run deficit starting to set in. There's a base hit. And that brings the fans to their feet. Just the 2nd base runner of the night for Atlanta. And Mark Lemke ends his 0 for 11 drought.
And we mentioned the mistake by John Smoltz to Jay Bell. Well, Doug Drabek follows suit. Watch the breaking ball up in the middle of the plate. Hammered to right by Lemke. And the Braves are hoping for the same results. Minimum, at least 1 run. And obviously hoping for a big inning.
Now Jeff Treadway, who has been to the plate twice in this series with 1 hit, a single. Fastball just outside. The night is over for John Smoltz. Jimmy Williams threw the signs for Lemke and Treadway. The reason Treadway selected by Bobby Cox, he's .343 for his career against Doug Drabek. 2-0 Pittsburgh in the bottom of the 6th. The lead man on for Atlanta in the count of 1 ball and 1 strike on Treadway. Bob Walk is the right-hander. Bob Patterson the lefty in the Pittsburgh bullpen. This will be pitch number 73 of the night for Drabek. Slap to left, a little pop-up. Long run for Bonds, he can't get it. Lemke to second. It's a bloop hit off the bench for Jeff Treadway. First and second and nobody out. The Braves have the tying run at first and the go-ahead run coming to the plate.
There is no doubt about it. Otis Nixon is up there to bunt. Now, Ray Miller is coming out. Ray's the pitching coach of the Pirates. And we will see if the Pirates employ the rotation play. The rotation play is when the 3rd baseman charges, the 1st baseman charges, the shortstop goes to 3rd, and the 2nd baseman goes to 1st.
And when you employ that play, your intent is to make the play at 3rd and try to cut down the lead runner.
You could play a variation of the rotation play here. Just play your third baseman in and get the runner at second base, because the runner at second base would be the tying run if he gets there. It's going to be interesting to see how the Pirates play. This is the rotation play. Third baseman breaks in, first baseman breaks in, shortstop to third, second baseman to first. We'll see if that's what they employ.
Not a lot of speed on the base paths for Atlanta, with Lemke at second and Treadway at first. They combined for one stolen base during the regular season. Otis Nixon 0 for 2 tonight. He squares to bunt. A high chopping bunt could be a problem. Merced has no play.
Pirates played it straight up and got burned. Look at the hesitation by Merced. Drabek looked at Merced. Merced hesitated, and Otis Nixon has an infield bunt single. Merced's got to close in on Otis Nixon. He can't lay back, but he did. He's got to know that Jose Leon's going to be behind him covering first base. Merced, his second mistake on a bunt play in this series, and this one could be costly.
Bases loaded with nobody out in the bottom of the 6th inning in Game 7 of the National League Championship Series. The Pirates lead 2-0. The hits now even at 4 apiece, as Atlanta has strung together 3 straight hits to start the 6th. Jeff Blauser at the plate. The tying run in scoring position. The go-ahead run at first base. The count 1-0 on Blauser, who is 0 for 2 tonight. He has been outstanding throughout his career with the bases full, a .375 career average. Terry Pendleton to follow. Breaking ball. He tried to check his swing and could not. 1 ball and 1 strike. The 1-1 pitch. Missed. Another breaking ball low and away. Tim, do you see any signs that Drabek has lost anything in the 6th inning?
No, he made the one mistake to Lemke. The other ball to hit off the end of the bat, and now the bunt single. He's in trouble.
It has hardly been a loud inning in terms of the contact made by the Braves here in the 6th inning, but they've loaded the bases with nobody out. They're down 2-0 in the 6th. The 2-1 pitch. Fastball line to third. Caught. Double play. Right at King was the line drive, and he easily doubled off Lemke.
Hundreds of times during the year, the third base coach with a runner on third and less than 2 outs, he'll say, watch the line drive. Well, that's exactly what Lemke did then. And he also watched Jeff King step on third. In fairness to Mark, there is nothing he could have done about that line drive. Any base runner would have been dead on that one. What a break for Pittsburgh.
The biggest play of the series to this point. The tying run is no longer in scoring position. It is at first base. Now there are 2 down. And the batter is Terry Pendleton. 0 for 2 tonight, just 6 for 28 in the series. Big swing and a miss at the breaking ball.
Boy, that is some curveball by Drabek. And as you can see, he is still maintaining some serious stuff out there. Fastball, slider, and that last one was a curveball.
Fastball outside.
The one thing you don't want in a situation like this, and pitchers and catchers are trained like that, whatever you think is your best pitch. This is a game situation. Actually, it could be a season situation. You don't want to get beat on anything less than your best pitch. That's what LaValliere has to figure out right now.
Breaking ball, pulled foul.
So Pendleton swings through the breaking ball, and now he fouls it off. So obviously Drabek has the curveball working for him.
Drabek trying to work his way out of a bases loaded, nobody out jam. Now it's runners at first and second with 2 down. And the 1-2 to Pendleton. The fastball missed outside. Pendleton keeps the inning alive. David Justice would bat next. Now the 2-2 pitch. Just missed. Drabek can't believe he didn't get the call.
An inside fastball that just missed. And now, with a count 3 balls and 2 strikes, the runners will be off. Drabek really gets away with one right there. LaValliere sitting outside. Drabek came back over the fat part of the plate. Close pitch.
Apparently it was just low. The runner's off with the 3-2 pitch. Line to left. Bond started in. He's there and makes the catch. The Braves loaded the bases with nobody out and failed to score the double play. A huge play. And we go to the 7th with the Pirates still on top, 2-0.
Perhaps the biggest play in this series, with Pittsburgh leading 2-0, bases loaded and nobody out. An unassisted double play by Jeff King. Jeff Blauser hits it off the trademark. It wasn't hit hard. And Mark Lemke is doubled up at third base. Pendleton flies to left field. And Pittsburgh escapes without yielding a run. And Mike Stanton, the left-hander, in there.
Greeted immediately by the base hit by Mike LaValliere. Jim Leyland left the left-handed swinging LaValliere in there to face Stanton. And Stanton's first pitch delivered to left. Stanton has been perfect in his 4 appearances prior to tonight in terms of not allowing any runs. He's pitched 3 2/3 innings.
You might be asking yourself, why was Mike LaValliere left in there by Jim Leyland? Well, he's catching a shutout. He and Drabek have something going now, and that supersedes any offensive things that he can do, but he ends up singling to left field. But the reason he was allowed to hit was because he and Drabek have a shutout through 6 innings.
Drabek on deck. LaValliere back to first with Jose Lean to the plate.
If you bring a guy like Don Slaughter in, you may get more offense, but he doesn't know the tendencies of Drabek through the first 6 innings. That's why LaValliere's in there.
There's Don Slaughter. Lean sends one back to the screen. Chico doubled with 1 out in the 5th inning, but was stranded at second. We mentioned earlier, 7 teams in the history of postseason play in Major League Baseball have come from 3 games to 1 down to win a series. The Pirates have done it twice in their history. Trying to do it again as Lean sends one to right center. Nixon playing in that direction with the catch for the first out.
The first team who ever come from 3-1 down was the Pittsburgh Pirates in 1925. They did that against Washington. And Pittsburgh did it again in the 1979 World Series against the Baltimore Orioles, led by Willie Stargell, the We Are Family year. Doug Drabek went 0 for 2 against John Smoltz. Smoltz pitched 6 innings. He allowed 2 runs, both earned on 5 hits. He walked 2. One of those was an intentional walk. And he struck out 4. He will not pick up his 3rd win in this series tonight. Greg Olson, the spectator throughout this series after injuring his ankle, breaking his ankle in mid-September.
This is an interesting situation right here. Drabek bunting with Alex Cole on deck. Now, remember we talked about defense. Pittsburgh up 2-0. You're not going to take Cole out of the ball game. He's a left-handed hitter against the left-hander. I think Donnelly will change it around now and have Drabek swing away. I think Doug missed the bunt sign then. I thought he was bunting. I think he thought he was bunting, and I believe he was hitting away. It would be unusual to bunt with Cole against the left-hander.
He turned to bunt as Stanton threw to first base.
Alex Cole is your fastest outfielder. You're not going to pinch hit a red-hot Lloyd McClendon in this situation because you lose something on defense, and defense is the priority for the Pirates right now.
Fastball missed outside. Sid Bream to the mound to speak with Stanton. "13 2/3 consecutive scoreless innings in the postseason for Stanton. He's just 24 years old. Drabek gets the bunt down. Bream has to go to first. Valenti covering. It's a sacrifice. The play goes 3-4, and Pittsburgh has a runner in scoring position with 2 down. LaValliere at second base. And Alex Cole has been called back in favor of Lloyd McClendon. Cole does have the speed, but he is not an outstanding defensive outfielder.
Yeah, but he can make up for a lot of his mistakes with his speed. McClendon can't do that. McClendon is not as good an outfielder, and I think this is a very unusual move. Of course, Jim Leyland going for another run. You can't blame him for that. But who's going to play right field? It's got to be Lloyd McClendon.
Who has 6 hits in his last 6 official at-bats, but because the streak was interrupted by a sacrifice fly, which terminates a consecutive hit streak, he has only tied the record of 5 consecutive hits in one championship series.
Of course, you could use Cecil Espy in this situation, possibly Gary Varsho, but what you're doing in essence is using 2 men for 1 pinch hitter if you do that. I think that would be the priority, to go ahead and use either Espy or Varsho rather than putting McClendon out there, because he's probably the worst defensive outfielder, certainly the worst defensive right fielder that the Pirates had.
They're pitching around Lloyd to get to Jay Bell. That'll set up first and second with 2 outs here in the 7th inning. The Pirates trying to add to a 2-0 lead as Tim Wakefield looked on alongside Gary Reedus.
If they bring in a right-handed pitcher to pitch to McClendon, then Jim Leyland's going to counter with a better defensive outfielder, either Espy or Gary Varsho, both left-handed hitters. Espy a switch hitter, of course. But with Jay Bell, you may bring the right-hander in, and Bell has to stay in the ballgame because he's the regular shortstop.
Bobby Cox is going to make a pitching change with Jay Bell coming up. Pete Smith will come in. Welcome back to Game 7 of the National League Championship Series from Atlanta Fulton County Stadium, where the Pirates lead 2-0, and they're batting in the 7th with 2 men on and 2 outs. Mike LaValliere, the runner, at second base. Lloyd McClendon at first. And the 3rd pitcher of the night for the Atlanta Braves is Pete Smith.
Pete Smith 7-0 this year. He was 7-4 at Richmond, and he's worked 3 2/3 innings, giving up 2 hits. That was in game 5. These are the pitchers in the bullpen available to Bobby Cox. Avery, Merker, Lee Brandt, all left-handers. Reardon, Freeman, Wohlers, the right-handers. Both managers well stocked with pitchers tonight.
Only Avery warming up at the moment. Jay Bell at the plate. So now Mike Stanton, who has been the best reliever of late for Atlanta, is out of the game after only 2/3 of an inning. And after Jay Bell, you're back to the left-handed power hitters in Van Slyke and Bond.
Mike Stanton had gone 14 innings without allowing a run. That's over the last 2 league championship series. And he has been very, very effective in this. Probably his best left-hander. Not probably. He is the best left-hander for Bobby Cox against Van Slyke and Bonds.
And you have to think this might be a 1-batter stint for Pete Smith, with Avery still throwing and the left-handers Van Slyke and Bonds to follow. 2-0 Pittsburgh in the 7th inning. Pete Smith is yet to throw a strike. 3-0 the count. There's Avery, who was the starting pitcher and losing pitcher in game 5 Sunday at Pittsburgh. Van Slyke waiting in the on-deck circle. Terry Pendleton and Damon Berryhill to the mound to chat with Pete Smith. He pitched very well in game 5 in relief of Avery. He was the man who came in the first inning when Avery was knocked out after 1/3 of an inning. And Smith allowed only 1 run over 3 2/3. Now the 3-0 pitch. Ball 4. He walked him on 4 pitches.
That was a breaking ball. A breaking ball on a 3-0 count with Van Slyke and Bonds coming up? No way. No way. I think Terry Pendleton went in and Berryhill went out, and Terry said, don't give in to this hitter. I think you better give in to Jay Bell as opposed to Van Slyke and Bonds coming up, even with Avery.
Pete Smith departs as Steve Avery comes in for Atlanta.
2-0 Pirates, bases loaded and 2 outs. There's Pete Smith in the middle of your screen. I think he was talked into that pitch by Terry Pendleton. I don't know that for a fact, but Terry Pendleton came out to the mound with a count 3 balls and no strikes to Jay Bell. In my opinion, there is no way you can not give in to Jay Bell in that situation with the meat of the order coming up. I mean, 1 pop from Van Slyke or Bonds, it could put it out of reach.
And that's what Van Slyke has a chance to do as he digs in with the bases loaded. Steve Avery, the 3rd pitcher of the inning, the 4th pitcher of the night for the Braves, making only his 2nd major league relief appearance. He was the starting pitcher for the Braves in games 2 and 5 in this series. Andy Van Slyke, 2 for 3 tonight, with a double, a single, and an RBI. Check swing at a breaking ball, low and away.
The Braves are looking at a different Andy Van Slyke than in past seasons. He was a .297 hitter against left-handers this year.
And he is 0 for 4 against Avery in this series and 3 for 20 against Avery lifetime. Tied him up with the inside fastball. 1 ball and 1 strike.
You can get any left-hander out in that area. Perfect pitch from Avery.
With the way Drabek is cruising along, this is an absolutely critical spot in the ball game. The 1-1 pitch. Fouled out of play, and now Avery jumps ahead, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
So the fastball up and in, and then Avery goes back to the breaking ball, low and away. 2 nasty pitches to Van Slyke.
The fans realize that this is a vital moment, and they're on their feet, trying to spur Steve Avery onto the strikeout. Bases loaded with 2 outs. No runs in this inning for Pittsburgh. The Pirates lead 2-0 in the 7th. The 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball pulled foul.
And a collective sigh from this packed house. That an inside breaking ball to Van Slyke. He wheeled on it but pulled it foul.
"22-year-old Steve Avery with another 1-2 pitch. Fly ball, it'll stay in the ballpark, and Otis Nixon is there. The Pirates leave the bases loaded without scoring in the seventh. Seventh inning stretch in Game 7. The Pirates up 2-0. Pirates lead 2-0, but the Braves dodged a big bullet with that 0 in the top of the seventh. The Goodyear blimp Stars and Stripes high overhead tonight. Stars and Stripes is the most recent addition to the fleet, continuing a tradition since 1926. Let's check in with Jim Gray.
Okay, Sean, we have an update on John McSherry, the umpire. He is at Piedmont Hospital, and we just got word from a spokesman at the hospital that McSherry is in stable condition, suffering from severe dizziness, and will be held overnight for observation. Sean?
Thank you, Jim. And obviously all of us here at the ballpark tonight send out our best wishes to John McSherry. Sounds as if he'll be fine after a night of rest. David Justice batting in the seventh. Drabek will face the middle third of the order. Justice, Bream, and Gant. Steve Avery came on to put out the fire, inducing the Pirates to leave the bases loaded in the top of the seventh. Pittsburgh has stranded 7 base runners now. Drabek has only surrendered 4 hits, and 3 of them came last inning, and they came consecutively as the Braves loaded them up with nobody out, and they failed to score. A line drive off the bat of Blauser into a double play, the biggest play of this series. Roger Mason is the right-hander, Bob Patterson the lefty. McClendon still in the game in right field. Lean, bobbled from his knees. Threw him out. Merced had to dig it out. 1 out in the 7th inning.
We saw the bullpen, a left-hander and a right-hander up. I think one of the things that really stands out in this series is the reluctance of Jim Leyland to go to his bullpen. He realizes that that is the Pirates' Achilles heel. As a matter of fact, all 3 Pirate wins in this series have been complete games. The first time since 1973 that there have been 3 complete games in National League Championship play. The difference was in '73, one of them was a loss, Tom Seaver.
Sid Bream lines it, slicing away from Van Slyke and in for an extra base hit. Bream, after 5 knee operations, doesn't run very well, and it doesn't really matter in this case. It's a double all the way for the former Pirate, Sid Bream.
Bream hits it hard to left center. That is more or less his gap and his slot. Fastball away and spanked crisply to left center field.
The tying run is once again at the plate, with Pittsburgh leading 2-0 in the 7th inning. Bream at second with 1 out for Ron Gant. They've been pitching him away all night. That one nipped the outside corner. Gant is 0 for 2. He was robbed of a hit on a great catch by Andy Van Slyke in center field in the 2nd inning, and was called out on strikes in the 5th inning. The pitch count has to be becoming a factor for Doug Drabek, and Jim Leyland is aware that Drabek has thrown 89 pitches tonight, pitching on 3 days rest for the 2nd straight outing. He's thrown 263 pitches in the 3 games in this series.
Yeah, well, this is a different type of 3 days rest, however. This is the 169th game of the year for either team, and the winner goes to the World Series. That 3 days rest stuff in this particular situation, with everything, with the whole season riding on it, I think a guy like Doug Drabek just laughs at that.
And he's
ahead of Gant. No balls and 2 strikes with Damon Berryhill waiting on deck.
I think what Ray Miller, the pitching coach, and Jim Leyland will continue to ask Drabek after every half inning, how do you feel? Don't lie to me. Tell me the truth. I want to know how you feel.
Throw to second. Bream just back.
You don't necessarily always throw to a base to pick a runner off. Sometimes you want to keep him a step closer. And that's what they probably did with that close play at second.
The outfield is extremely deep. The 0-2 pitch is outside, particularly Bonds in left and Van Slyke in center. Bonds almost on the warning track in the left field corner. They give Gant a lot of room in left center field with Van Slyke playing almost straight away. The 1-2 pitch outside. 2-2. Bottom of the 7th in Game 7 of the National League Championship Series. The Pirates lead 2-0. Gant up with 1 out. Bream at second. And a count of 2 balls and 2 strikes. The 2-2 pitch. Breaking ball. It wouldn't come down for Drabek.
After 4 sliders, Drabek resorts to the curve and misses.
And undoubtedly that's not where he meant to throw that pitch.
No.
Gant represents the tying run at the plate. And this is the 3-2 pitch. Fouled off the catcher, the value. And LaValliere still down. And Biggerstaff, the trainer of the Pirates, is going to come out to take a look at him.
I think it hit Mike in the crease. When you're down in the crouch, you see the shin guard right there. It came up in the crease of the left shin guard. The one good thing about Mike was that the ball hit the ground first. And I think it rattled around in his thighs too. And of course they are not protected. There's the crease that we were talking about right there. There was a crease, but that ball hit the ground, came up, and then kind of rattled around in his thighs, and no protection there. Of course, the players and catchers obviously wear that protective cup for the groin area. And as you can see there, I guess it came off the shin guard and hit him in the cup.
Three balls and 2 strikes. And they love Spanky at his establishment adjacent to Three Rivers Stadium. 2-0 Pittsburgh in the bottom of the 7th. Another 3-2 pitch, hammered way foul. He got about as far in front of that one as you can.
Double in a round park. Isn't that the line?
That looked like another mistake by Drabek that he got away with.
Well, was that indicative of how much a pull hitter Ron Gant is? My goodness. Rally caps are going. Either that or donations accepted.
I don't think that's necessary in the case of either dugout. Another 3-2 pitch, high in the air. Bonds drifting toward the stands, and it hooks into the stands. Fortunately for Gant, it didn't sneak in there by much.
Ron Gant just missed that pitch. A little late action away. Sean was talking about how they've gone away, away, away. Just off the end of the bat. I mean, just missed the sweet part. But again, an indication of how quick his hands are.
Drabek has gotten away with a few pitches in this sequence that haven't been indicative of the way he has pitched the rest of the night. Another payoff pitch. Ball 4.
What a great at-bat by Ron Gant. Fouling off some tough pitches and now taking a ball just off the plate.
Clearly low and away. That is the first walk tonight issued by Doug Drabek. Gant the tying run at first. Bream still at second. 1 out of the 7th inning. Gant's been cold of late, 0 for his last 11. But that was certainly a big at bat. Jim Leyland says he and only he decides when to make a pitching change. He learned that in his first year managing in the minors in 1971. In one of his first games as a manager, they had a hitting coach who roved throughout the Tiger system. That hitting coach went down to stand next to Jim Leyland one night when he was pondering taking out the pitcher. When Jim looked to the coach walked away and said, hey, if you're going to be an effective big league manager someday, you're going to have to learn on your own when to take out the pitcher. Damon Berryhill in with a strike. Drabek on the verge of 100 pitches. Berryhill doubled off the wall in the 3rd in center field. Grounded out his last time up in the 5th, and he's in the hole here 0-2.
Again, the pitch count, I don't think the pitch count is as important for Drabek because he's a sinker ball pitcher. Often when sinker ballers are a little tired, they're more effective. It's the power pitchers where the pitch count is very, very effective to keep track of. A guy like John Smoltz, for instance, who's no longer in the game, of course.
Berryhill in the hole 0-2. Mark Lemke is on deck. High fly, not particularly deep in left field. Bonds the catch for the 2nd out. Lemke is looking back toward the Braves dugout. And he's going to be lifted for a pinch hitter. It's Lonnie Smith.
He is Bobby Cox's main man off the bench. And Bobby's probably thinking now that we may never have another chance to use our best pinch hitter representing the go-ahead run. If he pops one, Atlanta's ahead.
All of Lonnie Smith's at-bats in this series have come as a pinch hitter. He's 2 for 5 off the bench with 1 RBI. We're at Atlanta Fulton County Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia for Game 7 of the National League Championship Series. The winner of this one moves on to the World Series and will host the Toronto Blue Jays in Game 1 of the Fall Classic Saturday night. Doug Drabek has gone all the way in this, his 3rd start of the series. He was the losing pitcher while pitching very poorly in Games 1 and 4. Given a 3rd chance by his teammates.
particularly his fellow members of the pitching staff, Bob Walk and Tim Wakefield, with their performances in games 5 and 6. And Drabek has taken advantage of this third light. Holding on to a 2-0 lead with runners at first and second and 2 outs. And Lonnie Smith batting for Mark Lemke. The breaking ball cut on and missed for strike 1. They've changed rally caps. The pitcher is due next, and Deion Sanders has moved into the on-deck circle. The 0-1. Breaking ball missed low and away. Another breaking ball. Smith fouled it away. For those fans who don't watch much baseball during the year but come to the television at playoff and World Series time, their last memory of Lonnie Smith might be from Game 7 of the World Series last year.
A base running mistake in the 8th inning that could possibly have cost Atlanta the World Championship. Running on a pitch, a double to left center. He stopped at third and was stranded there.
Here's a chance to leave Braves fan with a much more pleasant memory of this 1992 postseason.
He's got to do it against some nasty pitches. 4 curveballs, and those are real downers right there. You folks at home can tell the curveball from the slider. Watch the ball go down. That is a nasty curveball, and that's why I don't even think Jim Leyland's thinking about taking Doug Drabek out now.
He's had Walk and Patterson throwing throughout this inning. Mason has been up as well. They're both standing and watching out there now. The 1-2 pitch. High fly ball, shallow center. A routine play for Van Slyke. And the Braves strand 2 more. They've left 5. We go to the 8th. Doug Drabek and the Pirates with a 2-0 lead. Alex Cole led off this game with a walk against John Smoltz. Andy Van Slyke doubled him the third. Orlando Merced a sacrifice fly to bring him in. The only other run in this game in the Pittsburgh 6th inning. Jay Bell doubled and Andy Van Slyke singled him in. And Doug Drabek has been the story of the night for Pittsburgh.
Still action on his pitches, and I think he will go out there in the 8th inning. I don't think Jim Leyland. As a matter of fact, the Pittsburgh bullpen is quiet right now.
Barry Bonds leads off against Steve Avery with a base hit. He took a 1-0 pitch into right field for his first hit of the night. He's 1 for 3. And for the 3rd straight inning, the Pirates have the lead man on.
I think it's safe to say the bond market is up after being severely depressed.
New second baseman in the ball game is Rafael Belliard. That move made necessary by Smith batting for Lemke. Rafael Belliard played in only 1 game this season at second base.
Tom Glavine working only 1+ inning last night. The Pirates scoring 8 runs in the top half of the 2nd inning. That was before the relief corps could get anybody out.
Just as Doug Drabek was desperately seeking an opportunity to come back in this series in a Game 7, Tom Glavine expressed the same sentiment before the game tonight in the clubhouse. He was desperately hoping that the Braves would make it to the World Series so he'd have a chance to atone for that performance last night. And as Jim Gray told you at the outset, John Smoltz said he was pitching tonight with the failures of Avery and Glavine in the last 2 games in mind. He didn't want them to have an awful winter, thinking back about how they did not deliver in games 5 and 6. Orlando Merced at the plate. And as they inch closer to victory in Pittsburgh, some have taken to praying. Of course, when the camera comes on, they all take to cheering and screaming. Bonds at first with nobody out.
and still owns the only Pittsburgh stolen base in this series. Avery has difficulty holding runners on. Merced chops one to short. Blauser shuffles to Belliard. They cut down the lead runner. One out in the 8th inning. 2-0 Pittsburgh. This is Game 7 of the National League Championship Series.
That was a terrific play by Jeff Blauser. A lot of shortstops would take the safe out and go to first base. Blauser was actually in front of the bag. He had to turn and give a little shovel pass back to Belliard. A lot of shortstops would go to first base, but had he done so then, Bond's a real threat to steal third with one out.
And with the situation the Braves are in, they need to do everything they can to keep additional runners out of scoring position for Pittsburgh.
Right.
Jeff King, 0 for 3 tonight. Avery misses low. Slap down the right field line. It is a fair ball right along the line. The runner is being waved around third. Merced to the plate, and he is out at home.
Ball hit hard down the right field line. That is just fair. So many shots down either line that have been so close throughout this series. And now the strong arm of David Justice nails Merced at home plate. The slap tag with a glove. And the reason that Rich Donnelly sent Merced was because of the guy who's up at bat right now, Mike LaValliere.
Left-handed hitting LaValliere against the lefty Avery. Merced cut down at the plate. At least for the moment, the Braves have dodged another bullet. They got out of a bases-loaded jam last inning. LaValliere was the first man to face Mike Stanton last inning and singled against the left-hander. He's facing Avery for the first time tonight. A ball and a strike.
It would be too much to ask Mike LaValliere to get 2 for 2 off of guys like Stanton and Avery. So I think Pittsburgh would have been put in a squeeze situation. It would have been very difficult to score Merced from third base with one out, and that's why I think Donnelly sent him. What did Jim Leyland tell us before the game when he coached third base for Tony La Russa in 1983? He had no stop sign.
He was known as the man with no stop sign. Good breaking ball from Avery, 1-2. And wouldn't you know, the close play along the line of the outfield would be where there is no umpire. Because of the illness of John McSherry, the umpires working this ball game with only 5 members of the crew and no umpire along the right field line. But Ed Montague made the right call. It was a fair ball. Now the 1-2 pitch. Softly toward left. Gant makes the running catch. The Braves come up in the 8th, still trailing by only 2-0. Welcome back for the bottom of the 9th inning of Game 7 of the National League Championship Series. The Pittsburgh Pirates trying to become the first National League team to come from 3 games to 1 behind to win the NLCS. There have been 3 previous 7th games in National League Championship Series play, and in all 3 of them, a pitcher has thrown a complete game shutout. Danny Cox for St. Louis in 1987, Orel Hershiser for Los Angeles at 88, John Smoltz for the Braves last year against Pittsburgh. And Drabek is trying to make it a perfect 4 for 4 as he begins the 9th with a strike to Terry Pendleton, who is 0 for 3 tonight.
The Braves, on the other hand, have the meat of the order up to try to score at least 2 off of Doug Drabek.
Pendleton, Justice, and Bream will bat in the 9th inning. It's been a disappointing championship series for Pendleton. He's now 6 for 29. Drabek has retired 5 in a row, including 2 strikeouts last inning. He's had pinpoint control throughout. He's only walked 1, and that was after a battle with Gant on a 3-2 pitch in the 7th. Pendleton pulls it down the right field line, hooking toward the corner. It is a fair ball. Pendleton on his way to second with a leadoff double.
We've talked about how many close calls there have been on the line. This is another one. Gillespie holds Pendleton to a double. But now the potential tying run will be up for Atlanta.
That was the headline in today's Atlanta newspaper. And it is indeed now or never for the Braves. They have their cleanup hitter at the plate representing the tying run, David Justice. There is double-barreled action in the Pirate bullpen. Strike on the outside corner to Justice, who is 0 for 3. Belinda, Stan Belinda, the right-hander. Bob Patterson, the lefty. Justice at the plate, Bream on deck. Grounded to the right, booted by Lee. Pendleton to third on the play.
A man who has made only 6 errors during the regular season makes his second here tonight, and it could turn out to be the biggest error of his life.
Ted Turner with a high five from President Jimmy Carter. Ray Miller, the pitching coach, on his way to the mound. Drabek up to 125 pitches in this, his third outing in 8 days.
When Ray Miller comes out, he rarely makes a move for Jim Leyland. Only Leyland will remove the pitcher. Drabek is still throwing well. You can see that late action, even though the ball was hit hard by Pendleton and hard by Justice, but it was booted by Leyland, and here it is again. He normally sucks those balls up. One of the finest fielding second basemen in the game.
So now the tying run is at first with nobody out in the bottom of the 9th inning. The potential winning run is at the plate. Sid Bream, the ex-Pirate. Breaking ball in the dirt, blocked by LaValliere with the runner at third. The Braves have had chances in the late innings. They loaded the bases with nobody out in the 6th inning and did not score. They had first and second with 1 out in the 7th and failed to score. Now they have first and third with nobody out in the bottom of the 9th, trailing 2-0. Bream at the plate with Ron Gant on deck. The bullpen has been a weakness of the Pittsburgh Pirates this season. And in this series, we've seen Jim Leyland be very reluctant to go to the bullpen. The starting pitchers are the strength of his staff, and that has continued to be true in this series. Drabek trying to gut it out in the 9th. Just missed outside. 3 balls and no strikes on Sid Bream. Pendleton, the runner at third. He started the inning with a double. Justice reached on the leaned error. He's at first. Drabek about to throw pitch number 129. The 3-0 to Bream. Ball 4. As hard as it is to believe, there are a lot of empty seats in the upper reaches of Fulton County Stadium. And there are many people in the neighborhood who are making a U-turn in their car trying to come back. Jim Leyland on his way to the mound to take out Doug Drabek. Stan Belinda will be the new pitcher. A brilliant effort by Doug Drabek. We'll find out if it was enough after this. Jim Leyland leading 2-0. But it is a tenuous lead with the bases loaded for the Braves and nobody out in the bottom of the 9th inning in Game 7 of the National League Championship Series. Doug Drabek has departed after 8 innings plus 129 pitches. After the second walk that he issued tonight, Stan Belinda takes over.
The consideration now is, do you use a pinch runner for Sid Bream? The Atlanta Braves have Brian Hunter and 2 catchers. You wouldn't use the catcher. You want to save Hunter as a right-handed pinch hitter. That's why Bream's still in the game.
Belinda's first pitch to Ron Gant outside for ball 1. Gant hit a grand slam in Game 2 of this series last Wednesday afternoon off Bob Walk. Agonizing moments for Pirate fans everywhere, including those you just saw at the Clark Bar and Grill. Tying run at second, winning run at first. Gant hits one to left. Bonds on the track, at the wall, makes the catch. Pendleton on to score the first Atlanta run of the ball game.
Everybody exploding here in the stadium as though something good happened, but something bad happened for Atlanta. Something good happened for the Pirates. They got the sacrifice fly to left field and not to center or right, because the tying run's the guy who is still at second base, and that's David Justice. So 1 run scores, but for the most part, you're no closer getting David Justice home because he's still at second base.
And now a double play with the slow-footed Berryhill at the plate sends the Pirates to the World Series.
Even though Belinda is not a double play type pitcher, he throws high fastballs and rarely will throw a double play ball.
Two to 1. Pittsburgh leads in the bottom of the 9th. And Berryhill fouled one back to the screen. The tying run is Justice at second. Bream, a slow runner, represents the winning run at first base. Six-year-old Stan Belinda with the 0-1 pitch. A bit inside, perhaps just low. The run in this inning charged to Drabek. Brian Hunter has moved into the on-deck circle to bat for Rafael Belliard. There's been only 1 hit in this inning. It was the leadoff double by Pendleton. The error by Leyland, a large play.
Just missed. 2 balls and a strike. Berryhill wasn't supposed to be in this situation. Greg Olson would have been the catcher had he not broken his ankle in mid-September. Berryhill won for his last 11 in this series. The 2-1. Inside, ball 3.
Berryhill looking down at Jimmy Williams with a tape sign. In my book, no way you take here. Choose a pitch, choose that imaginary box. If it's in it, smoke it.
3-1 pitch. Ball 4. Oh, so close was the last pitch to Berryhill.
And Mike LaValliere barking at home plate umpire Randy Marsh. He wanted it. He thought it was a strike.
There were a couple of close pitches in that sequence called balls. That moves the tying run to third. Now a deep fly ball would tie up the ball game, and the winning run is in scoring position. Brian Hunter has appeared in 2 games in this series. He's 1 for 4. Ray Miller on his way to the mound.
The interesting thing here is the only out of this inning was a fly ball to left field thrown by Stan Belinda. It was a sacrifice fly hit by Ron Gant. Stan Belinda throws about twice as many outs in the air as he does on the ground. He threw 1 double play grounder this year. With that in mind, Jim Leyland's going to keep the infield at halfway in double play depth, but it is very, very unlikely for Belinda to throw a double play grounder. It's more likely for him to get a strikeout, a pop-up, or a fly ball to the outfield.
Brian Hunter, one of the heroes of last year's Game 7. He had a 2-run homer off John Smiley. He pulls that one foul past third. Stan Belinda, because he does give up a lot of fly balls, occasionally has a problem with the home run ball. He surrendered 8 of them in 71 innings. Bob Waugh throwing in the bullpen. Pittsburgh leads 2-1. 1 out and the bases loaded in the bottom of the 9th. Hunter, little looper, leaned is there and makes the catch. The runner tags but will not try it. Down in the bottom of the 9th.
Your attention, please.
And now the Braves season hangs in the balance as Francisco Cabrera comes to the plate to bat for the pitcher. He appeared in only 12 games this year for the Braves and batted only 10 times with 3 hits. He's 0 for 1 in this series. Belinda's first pitch, a breaking ball outside.
Now, if Belinda goes 2-0 to Cabrera, I'd have him take. He has not been up that much, and I think the chances then are better with a walk than a hit when you have to come off the bench and face a guy like Belinda.
A most unlikely man in the spotlight for Atlanta. 25-year-old Francisco Cabrera, who takes ball 2, 2-0. Pittsburgh 2, Atlanta 1, with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th inning in Game 7 of the National League Championship Series. The 2-0 pitch. Well hit, but hooking fouled and left. He had the green light on 2-0 and hammered it, but well fouled over the Pirate bullpen.
And hit it very, very hard. Right in his wheelhouse, and it hooks foul.
He doesn't walk much. He walked only 17 times in 300 at-bats in AAA this year. He hacked at the 2-0, now the 2-1. Line drive and a base hit! Just as they score the tying run, Bream to the plate, and he is saved! Saved at the plate! The Braves go to the World Series! The unlikeliest of heroes wins the National League Championship Series for the Atlanta Braves. Francisco Cabrera, who had only 10 at-bats in the major leagues during the regular season, singled through the left side, scoring Sid Bream from second base with the winning run. Bream, who's had 5 knee operations in his lifetime, just beat the tag of his ex-mate Mike LaValliere. And Atlanta pulls out Game 7 with 3 runs in the bottom of the 9th inning.